Hi boys and girls. I'm feeling a little silly today, so I thought I would wear my cool headband. I'm reading to you today from my classroom. This is my little office area, so here we go. We're on The Wild Robot Escapes, Chapter 8. I hope you guys are having a great day so far. Chapter 8, The Computer. Inside the barn, the lights were low, the sounds were hushed, the night slowly wore on. A few cows were chewing hay, but most were resting peacefully. Our robot had returned to her corner. The soft glow of the computer screen lit up her face as she studied farming. She learned about the herd, about the pasture and the fields, about the native plants and wildlife, about the seasons and the climate and the weather, about the machines and the buildings and the fences and the tools and all the dairy equipment. Every day was perfectly remembered in the robot's computer brain, and in a single night, Roz became a farmer. Chapter 9, The First Day. At dawn, the cows began to stir. One by one, they walked out the side door, across the muddy barnyard, and into the parlor for a quick milking before heading down to the pasture. They followed the same routine every morning, like clockwork. However, on this morning, the cows were joined by a robot. With her computer brain full of farming knowledge, Roz was ready for her first day on the job. She stomped through the tall, wet grass, and her head slowly turned as she scanned the scenery. The sun was rising, the fog was lifting, the cows were grazing, and then the whole world seemed to flip upside down. Before Roz knew what was happening, she was on her back, looking up at the sky. A strong stench filled the air. Our robot had slipped on cow dung. Ew. The herd erupted into laughter. Tess called out, "Welcome to Hilltop Farm, Roz," which brought another round of snorts and moos. "You'll have to get used to cow patties and to laughter," said old Annabelle, strolling over. "Not much happens around here, so we're always eager to laugh." "I understand," said Roz. "I like laughing too." And she forced out an awkward ha ha ha. Then the robot stood up, wiped her feet, and continued exploring the farm. But she was more careful to watch where she stepped. The fields and buildings and fences were all in need of Roz's attention. But her most urgent task was to fix the broken farm machines. The herding machine was designed to roll through the pasture and look after the cows while they grazed, but it had gotten stuck in the mud and was becoming a popular hangout for birds. The field machine was gigantic, like a house on wheels. It was designed to roam the fields, planting and fertilizing and harvesting the feed crops. But it had ground to a halt weeks ago and was now just collecting dust in a far corner of the property. The drone was a small flying machine with a special camera attached to its underside. It was designed to fly above the farm and keep an eye on the whole place. But it came crashing down when a mob of crows attacked it in flight. Other broken machines were hidden within clumps of weeds, and still more were waiting for repairs in the shed. The peaceful morning was suddenly jolted by the sounds of power tools as Roz began fixing the machines. Thanks to her robotic strength and smarts, she made excellent progress. The hours flew by, the machines rumbled back to life, and the farm began buzzing with activity. Look at Roz, so cute. At sunset, Rambler came bouncing down the driveway with the Sharifs in the front and Oscar in the back. "How's it going, Roz?" said Mr. Sharif, leaning out his window. The children giggled and waved from their seats. The dog sniffed the breeze. "It is going well," said Roz in a robotic voice. "Many of the machines are working again." "I see that." Mr. Sharif gazed up at the drone, circling high overhead. "We thought we'd come out and check on you, but it looks like you're doing fine, so we'll stay out of your way. Keep up the good work, Roz." As the truck started rolling up the driveway, Oscar looked back at Roz and barked, "Woof, woof." "You smell like cow patties." He was right. The robot was filthy, and she finished her first day as a farmer by scrubbing herself with soap and water. Sounds like a good idea to me. Chapter 10, The Routine. Reader, I don't want to bore you with every detail of our robot's farm routine. Many of her tasks were incredibly dull. Others were quite unpleasant. I'll just say that on any given day, Roz might have to be a mechanic, or a veterinarian, or a gardener, or a plumber, or a cleaner, or a landscaper, or a carpenter, or an electrician, or all of the above. Farm life kept Roz very busy indeed. Of course, she did have help. You already know about some of the machines, but the entire farm was equipped with technology that made life easier for everyone. We're really getting a taste of technology these days, aren't we? Hopefully that's going well for you and your family. Doors and gates opened automatically. The cows wore electronic collars that kept track of their health automatically. When a cow's udders were full, she simply had to stroll into the parlor where she'd be milked by gentle machines automatically. All that milk was piped into storage tanks and cooled and bottled automatically. Once the milk truck was loaded up, it drove away and made its deliveries automatically. Mr. Sharif managed the business side of the farm. He dealt with customers and handled money and ordered supplies. And he did it all from the comfort of his home office, just like Mrs. Williams is doing, reading to you from her classroom. Now that he had a robot to do all the farm work, he hardly ever left the house. Roz was more content than she had ever expected to be. Most of her time was spent outdoors with animals under the wide open sky. Even while laboring in the fields, she could always stop to smell the flowers, look up at the clouds, feel the cool air drifting out from the trees. Maybe you could do that on a cloudy day. You could go lay in your yard and see if you can make some pictures with the clouds. I used to do that when I was a little girl. Now, where was I? Here we go. And yet, Roz was living two lives. When she had the farm to herself, she could play with the cows, or run through the grass, or chat with the wildlife. But whenever the Sharifs were near, Roz had to pretend to be a normal robot. She could never let them know who she really was. Chapter 11, The Stragglers. Wild geese are known for migrating in the autumn and the spring. But exactly when a flock migrates is up to its members. Some flocks choose to fly early in the season. Others straggle far behind. And it was one of those straggling flocks that caught the attention of our robot. Honk, honk, honk. The geese were heard before they were seen. Their honking voices echoed across the farm, and then the flock appeared above the fields, flying in a wobbly V formation. They glided over the pasture and plunked down into the pond. None of them were very concerned as Roz approached. The geese had seen similar creatures on other farms, and they knew there was nothing to fear. But they were about to learn that our robot was very different from the others. "Hello, geese," said Roz. "Welcome to Hilltop Farm." The geese froze. They stared at Roz with suspicious eyes. Can you make suspicious eyes? And then the biggest goose slowly swam over. "I've come across plenty of monsters like you," he said, "but I've never met one who could talk. I am not a monster. I am a robot. My name is Roz." The goose scratched his head. "Well, it's nice to meet you, Roz the robot," he said at last. "My name is Wingtip, and this is my flock." Roz gave a friendly wave, and soon the flock was gathering around, curious to meet this odd character. As you can imagine, the geese were shocked to learn that Roz had a goose for a son. They asked her all kinds of questions about Brightbill, and about her old life on the island, and about her new life on the farm. Then Roz asked them a question of her own. "Do you think Brightbill's flock would ever come this way on their migration?" "Doubtful," said Wingtip. "It sounds like his flock takes the eastern flyways. They'd never come this far west." The robot slumped with disappointment. "However, we geese are full of surprises," added Wingtip. "I'll promise you this, Roz. If we ever meet Brightbill, we'll point him in your direction." The talk was interrupted by giggling and barking. The children were taking their dog for a walk. Roz couldn't be seen chatting with geese, so she whispered a quick goodbye to her new friends and went back to work. And when she looked down at the pond later that day, she saw that the flock was gone. We're going to stop right there for today, boys and girls, but I have a couple other things to share with you. Yesterday, I forgot to read 365 Days of Wonder. So let's see. April 1st. "What is beautiful is good, and who is good will soon be beautiful." Each and every one of you are beautiful to Mrs. Williams. And April 2nd, "'Tis always morning somewhere in the world." That is true. There's our pages for today. And I have a joke for you. This one goes right along with our book. "Why did the farmer tell jokes to his ducks?" Why did the farmer tell jokes to his ducks? He wanted to quack them up. That's pretty funny. He wanted to quack them up. Okay. The other thing I'm going to share is something I've been doing in my free time other than knitting and other things. Let's see. So here is Mrs. Williams' iPad. I really prefer to hold books in my hand, but since I can't go to the store, I've been getting books on my iPad. And right now I'm reading a Karen Kingsbury book, and it's called 2 Weeks. I really hope that you have been reading on your own, not just listening to our read alouds, even though that's fun. I really hope you have some books at home that you can hold in your hand and read, or maybe your parents can get you some books on the iPad or Kindle if you have one of those, because we really want to keep reading. Helps make our brains smarter. Well, boys and girls, I guess that's it for today. I enjoyed reading to you today. Oh, I do have one more thing. If you would ask your mom and dad to help you send me an email, I would love to hear what your favorite part of our new story has been so far. So ask mom and dad to help you get on the computer and type me an email and tell me what you've enjoyed about the Read Aloud so far. Okay? I love you and I miss you guys so much. I hope you have a great evening. Talk to you later. Bye.